Today we will be discussing about a very important topic of how to be job ready for any domain. Basically what we will do is that we will follow the 10 steps that has been identified, and the steps are as follows. First of all, you need to study the job, and then you have to identify the skill set required for that job. You need to determine your motivation level for the job, why you are motivated for the job. And then in the fourth step, you have to identify your mentor. And in the fifth steps, you have to go for identification of your skill gap and knowledge gap. And then in the sixth step, you have to work on the communication skills. And then you have to prepare an innovative resume. And you have to practice for mock interview after that. And in the step 9, you have to plan, prepare and execute. And in the step 10, you have to continuously evaluate your performance. We will be discussing each of the steps, and the way you can really go about it is that first of all, you read the advertisement, and not once but twice. If you read it twice, you will get the finer details of what are their requirements, and the requirements needs to be classified or segregated into two categories. One is essential and the other one is desirable. And after that, you need to identify the skill set which is required for the job. It is basically given in the job description. You need to identify the skill set, the technical skill set, the domain knowledge that they are requiring, and other specifications according to the job they will give. And after that, you need to Google about the company. You need to find out what are the different areas on which the company is working on, who are all associated with the company, so that you can have a very clear-cut idea about where you are going to apply for the job. After that, you need to identify your skill set, and the process will be like this: that you need to write down your skill set in a paper, and you should be very honest about it, right? Then you have to identify the skills which are very natural to you. I mean, the skills which come natural to you. You may be naturally very quant-minded, quantitative aptitude may be high for you. You must be a very good leader, you must be a very good speaker, and you must be a natural problem solver. So these are the skills you need to identify, right? Then you need to identify the subjects which you have enjoyed the most throughout your study period, right? It can be maths, it can be any subject. I mean, whatever subjects you have enjoyed reading, you need to identify those subjects, right? And then you have to rate yourself on a point of scale, I mean a 10-point scale, in your analytical skills, basically the quantitative aptitude, the mathematical skills and the statistical skills that you have. And then you have to rate yourself on the domain knowledge, and then you have to rate yourself on the communication skills, and finally you have to rate yourself on the leadership skills based on whatever job or projects you have taken. Then you have to determine the motivation for the job. Why you want the job? I mean, what is the compulsion for you to go for the job? Is it that you want to get married? I mean, there is some situation where you want to get married, and for that you need to have the job. You want to go for money, you want to go for status, for relatives and for society you want to do the job. I mean, what is the motivation? Because the motivation level for the job will determine how much amount of energy and effort you are going to put, and you need to find an honest answer for that, right? And based on your motivations, what you will do is that you will plan your strategy, okay? And lastly, what is most important is that, do you really love the domain or the profile that you are planning to work on? I mean, these are very hard questions, okay? These questions needs to be answered very honestly, so that you are really prepared and motivated for the job. Okay, after you are done with these all things, then you have to identify your mentor. Okay, the skills and motivations are okay, you have identified those things and honestly you have done it. And then you have to identify your mentor, and mentor should be the person who knows the job. You cannot, I mean, anybody cannot help you out for a particular job if it really doesn't know the job. I mean, everybody has some idea of something, right? But you need to really identify the person who has really gone through the hardship, who knows the nitty-gritty of the job, so that he can really guide you to get the job and to crack the interview and to really excel in your career, right? And for that you have to be very honest with your mentor, right? You need not like try to give him false information. You need to give him very precise and very honest answers to his questions. And then what is important is that if you don't believe your mentor's style of working, his advice, you should not take. It's my advice that you should not take your mentor's advice unless and until you believe him. And once you have trusted your mentor, it's my request that don't ignore the mentor for at least 1 year, because here the patience is a very important key. Okay, you should remember it. Now, in the 5th step, what you will do is that you will identify your skill gap and knowledge gap. How to do this is very simple. What you do is that you segregate the subjects that you have studied, okay, right? And then you classify the subjects according to 4 categories. The subjects which you are good at but it's not useful for your job, the subjects which you are not good at but it is useful for your job, right? Now there will be subjects which you are good and it is useful for your job, and there are subjects which you are not good at and it is not useful for your job also. So the strategy will be that you should focus on the 2 and 3, that subject which you are good and useful, the subject which you are not good at but is useful. You have to work on those subjects, right? And you can completely ignore the 4th point, the subjects which you are not good at and it is not useful for your job. And the first one, that the subjects which you are good at but is not useful for your job, you should revise and update those skills because it can be of help to you in your future. Okay. Now on the step 6, what you will do is that you have to work on your communication skills. First and very most important part is that you should focus on your body language. It is very important because 40% of what we communicate through body language. That's what scientific studies says. Body language plays a very important role. Proper eye contact, sitting posture, your tone of voice, your smile in your face, your confidence, everything speaks a lot about your confidence, your culture and your attitude towards job, everything. I mean, body language is very, very important. Then you have to learn the etiquettes of e-communication, both verbal as well as written. And one more important thing is that please speak in a very clear and crisp English language. That's okay, but please don't try to copy any accent. I mean, American accent or kind of an European accent, whatever it may be. You should be natural, right? And then you should be very logical in your assertions. Whatever you are asserting, you should be very logical, right? And after that, you should be a very good storyteller. I mean, you should be able to articulate whatever you are thinking or you are telling in kind of a format which is very presentable and is like kind of a good story. But please don't make up any story out here. People can understand, right? People can understand that it's your true story or you are like making up something right there, okay? And then don't talk blankly, okay? Talk in facts and figures. I mean, whatever you are telling, if you can substantiate those things with facts and figures, your wordings, your assertions will be more kind of an acceptable, right? And then lastly, you should practice a lot of reading, because if you do a lot of reading, your knowledge will improve, your vocabulary will improve, and your general understanding of the things will improve. And I have suggested some papers. You have the choice of your own. It's nothing like that. Economic Times, Financial Times, The Hindu, these are all standard things. And in the 7th step, what you will do is that you have to prepare a very innovative resume, because you have seen your resumes 100 times. You know your resume is very good, because nobody can tell that my resume is not good, because you have seen it so many times and you love it. But your employer will only see it once, and he has or the employer has a very few seconds. You have to be very cautious in this that you have few seconds to impress and to make the first impression, right? So you should be very specific, very clear and concise, okay? And my advice is that please don't try to impress the employer, okay? Try to inform him, because employer will not get impressed by your CV or resume. He wants the information about yourself so that he can shortlist. At the time of interview, you will get the time to impress him. That's why he is trying to shortlist and call you for a personal interview. Okay, so try to inform him whatever is requirement of the job. Try to inform him that okay, you have got the skill set so that they can shortlist you. Okay, and one more thing is that you can try to reject your own resume number of times. I mean, suppose you want to reject your resume. Okay, you try to reject your resume, and you try to find the reasons why you have rejected it multiple times. And whenever you reject your resume, you will find certain reasons. You work on those reasons, okay, so that your chances of getting shortlisted increases, right? Because once you are rejecting your resume number of times, every time you are finding a new reason, okay, and you are working on those reasons. So definitely your resume will improve and you will also improve. Okay, now what you can do is that at the step 8 you can practice the mock interview, right? And how to do it? Okay, you should identify somebody. He or she can be a friend, a mentor, or any knowledgeable person. And don't tell them to ask specific questions. Just tell them to ask any random questions. And in the process of asking random questions and you're answering to the random question, you can check your confidence level. You can check your mood swings, because there will be certain times when you will get the questions, the answers of which are known to you. But there will be certain times when they will be asking you some questions or they will not be agreeing with you. At that point of time, you should be very cautious about your mood swings and you should try to control it, right? Then you should identify the questions which irritates you, okay? Because these are the questions which have very high chances of like making you very much nervous in the interview panel, before the interview panel, and it can just blow your mind out there. So you should try to focus on those questions which irritates you, and you should prepare very good answers for those questions. And you should practice the answers of interview in your mind, right? This is very important. And then lastly, you should always focus on the questions which comforts you. I mean, the questions, the answers of which are known to you, or there are some general questions, right? Tell me about yourself, introduce yourself, okay? These are basically lead questions, okay? And you should be very aware of them. You should be very much prepared for the lead questions, because you can guide the whole interview process if you are aware of the questions which comforts you. Because once you are in your comfortable zone, you will try to speak a lot about yourself. That's not the point. The point is that you can guide the interview panel to what you know and tell them. That should be the keyword, right? So you should focus on those things. Then in the step 9, what you can do is that you can plan, prepare and execute, okay? You should prepare a very comprehensive plan that we have discussed up to step 8. Okay, and you should be detailed oriented. Don't miss anything. Write everything, okay? And ask the questions on everything, on why you are trying to do it, what needs to be done, when you want to do it, where is that you will find the resources, where is the person, where is the thing that you need, and how you are going to do it. These are certain questions which you ask for everything. And when you get the answers, you'll see that you have a very detailed plan. And of course, you need to execute the plan, because if you don't religiously execute the plan, there is no point in making any plan, right? Now, lastly, in the step 10, what you need to do is that you need to continuously evaluate your performance, right? Because you need to set your own benchmark. Okay, today I can answer 10 questions. Tomorrow I can answer 15 questions. After that, I can answer 20 questions. Today, I know certain areas which I was not knowing yesterday. This way, you can set your own benchmark, and you should be honestly monitoring your progress. And I think if you can follow these 10 steps, you will be very well prepared for the job that you are planning to land into. and I wish you all the very best in your journey, and I'll be always happy to help you guys in whatever questions you are having.